ndagira ngo mbahe amateka niba ntarambiranye y'uburyo RPA yahagaritse Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika amaze kubona ko abaturage barimo kwicwa, yatanze amabwiriza, abwira forces commanders bose, akora inama, arababwira nti rero ubu ntabwo tukiri mu mishyikirano, byarangiye. General Charles Kayonga yari sende ahangaha, afite force y'abasirikare 600 3rd battalion. Afata company zimwe na zimwe ajya hirya no hino kujya gukora iki, kurokora abantu. Hari aho yashoboye kurokora ariko bari bake cyane. 600 ntago waba kwiza muri uyu mujyi ngusigarane abo kwirinda. Perezida wa Repubulika atanga order, ndagira ngo nyinyure mu magambo make. Abwira commanders, abwira ati ndashaka ko Alpha battalion yoboye na Major General Sam Kaka aracyariho, Bravo yoboye na Kanododo Twahirwa aracyariho, na 59 battalion yoboye na nyakwigendera Colonel Charles Ngoga. Haraka sana mujye gutanga umusada i Kigali, munyura hose kuva Byumba, Buyoga, Rutongo, Mubangizi, Mugambazi, Karuruma kugera kuri Sende. Iyo axis murayibona, bagenda barwana inzira yose, bagera Sende ngira ngo itariki nyuma y'iminsi nk'ibiri, ariko barwana batanga umusada kuri Sende. Bashobora kurokora abantu muri ibyo bice banyuzemo, ariko batanga n'umusada hangaha. Rescue operations zabaye muri uyu mujyi zakozwe n'izo units. Okay? Aha amabwiriza Lieutenant General Charles Muhire na waracyariho, 101 battalion, 21st battalion Kano Charles Musitu na waracyariho. Kuva Byumba, Rutare, Muhura, Bumbogo, Masoro, Gasabo axis nabo abaha gahunda yo gukora iki, yo kurokora abaturage muri yo axis. Ariko bakagenda barwana n'iki, n'intera hamwe na Exfar. Charlie Colonel Tadeo Gashumba we yari ahitwa Butaro na Ruhengeri, nawe ajya muri gahunda dual task: defeat the genocide forces and rescue. General Fred Ibingira ahabwa amabwiriza yo kujya Mutara, Kayonza, Ngoma, Bugesera, Gitarama, Butare. Iyo axis nta kindi yakoraga ni ukwirukanga inyuma y'intera hamwe, inyuma ya Exfar, asanga abantu hirya no hino abari mu myobo n'iki, nta kindi yakoraga. Ibyo rero bituma na focus y'intambara iba divided. Ufite task yo kurokora abantu, ariko ufite n'indi yo kurasa umwanzi. Bagomba kubikora. Hayo yari amabwiriza ya Fande. 7th battalion Colonel William Bagire nyakwigendera, Mutara, Kabarore, Ngarama, Kizuguro, Kayonza, Rwamagana, Kigali. Same task. Ariko impamvu mbe babwira niki, nuko bamwe muri abo bahari batanga n'ibiganiro buri munsi. Ni ibintu bakoze umunsi ku wundi, kandi ndagira ngo mbabwire, mbizeze mwese ko aya mateka tuyafite, twayanditse. Niyo mpamvu uyu munsi ndimo kubabwira details z'uburyo bahagaritse Jenoside yakorewe Abatutsi. Ayo mateka turayandika. For as long as you have the requisite skills to write history, you must write it down, so that whatever happens, you must use history to guide the future. You must explain the 10 stages of genocide and why it occurred. You must show how we halted a genocide. with 11,000 troops when the enemy had 33,000 plus auxiliary forces of over 50,000 armed killers that were on rampage throughout the country. But when you have a will to fight, it's not about numbers. It's about resolve. Turumvikana? It's about resolve. Ntago waba umutwe wawe utekereza kwica gusa, undi akaba atekereza kurokora ngo wumve ko urokora ashobora gutsindwa. Ntibishoboka. Umubiri niko uteye. You will be thinking about doing the right thing, moving fast, accepting the risks of war, of battle. But the one who is killing will say, let me protect myself and escape. The two do not have the same will to fight. Absolutely incomparable. So, I want to also talk about another section of our history. After 1994, after liberating the country on 4th July, 17th July, when Gisenyi was liberated and the government of killers was expelled to the DRC. That is not where the history of genocide ends. No. They went with their weapons, they went with their technologies and support, by the way, unfortunately, support by their Western backers to the DRC to reorganize and conduct insurgent attacks in Rwanda. So intambara y'abacengezi yabaye yari yo kugira ngo barangize umugambi batangiye wo kwica abatutsi no guhirika ubutegetsi bw'u Rwanda. Iyo ntambara nayo twarayitsinze. Twayitsinze gute? Bo baje bashaka kwica nanone. Ngiye kubasomera incidences zagiye ziba niba mutarambiwe. Baje bafite gahunda yo kwica abaturage kugira ngo bananize ubuyobozi bwa RPF icyo gihe, of course, yari government of Rwanda after 1996. Tariki 18 Werurwe mwaka wa 1997 ubwicanyi bwabereye ku ishuri rya Nyange. N'urugero nanga kuko ubwicanyi bwabaye henshi mu Rwanda. Umutwe wa Ariri wagabye igitero ku nshuro ku ishuri risumbuye rya Nyange, wica abanyeshuri banze kwitandukanya hashingiwe ku bwoko. Barinjiye, they burst into a classroom and asked students, girls and boys, and said, we want Tutsis there and Hutus there. The students stood in unison to say, no, we don't have those ethnicities here. We are all Rwandans. If you are going to kill us all. That happened. Jarabai. They killed 6 of them. So Rwanda had changed. People were not ready to be part of the crime again. 27th, tariki 20 Ugushyingo mwaka wa 2012, abarwanyi ba FDLR bambaye imyenda y'ingabo za Kongo bagabye ibitero mu mudugudu wa Myinshi Rubavu bakoresheje intwaro za FRDC. Itariki muri Mata mwaka wa 2019 FRN, murabyibuka ejo bunda, FRN yagabye igitero ku modoka zitwara abagenzi Ikitabi mu karere ka Nyamagabe, ihitana abaturage abandi benshi barakomereka. Itariki 4 Kwakira mwaka wa 2019 igitero cya Runana Ikinigi mu karere ka Musanze mu ntara y'Amajyaruguru cyahitanye abasivili 14 b'inzirakarengane. And I want to stress, it was no longer ethnic. It was just to disrupt the government. Simple. Kwica abantu kugira ngo bagaragaze ko umutekano ari muke mu gihugu. 22nd Gashyantare, itariki 22 Gashyantare, FDLR yishe Luca Atanasio, ambasaderi w'Ubutaliyana muri Kongo, mu gace k'umuhanda wa Goma, Ruchuro, Kibombo. That is when the whole world said, we can now categorize them as terrorists. Ariko murabyumva? Because an Italian ambassador was killed, therefore hell broke loose. Incidences in Rwanda, no, that is skirmish. That is an invasion of people with their people. But when an Italian ambassador is involved, then there is a problem. That's when people will write, how do they call them? Awareness, what is it called? When an embassy writes travel advisory. That's it, travel advisory. So when they attack a village in Nshiri or wherever, they are actually trying to instigate a travel advisory on that country, which kills tourism, which kills confidence in the economic transformation of a given country. Are you getting the whole logic? So if we don't conduct defensive measures, the citizens are being slaughtered by rogue elements across the border. Ubwo ndagira ngo mbahe background. Ingamba z'ubwirinzi u Rwanda rufata zirahinduka bitewe nuko ibintu bihagaze. Iyo nta bushake bwa guverinoma ya DRC bwo gukemura ibibazo by'umutekano mu bufatanye n'u Rwanda, dushaka uburyo tubigenza. Siko bimeze. But I want also to tell you that before all this happened, we had a period of stability when we had Umoja Wetu, joint operations with the DRC, and we thought we are heading for good times. When there was a change of government, trouble. FDLR was rearmed, repositioned, and supported by the Congolese forces, again, to destabilize Rwanda. So that is the short story of where we are today. A chronology from the 10 stages of genocide, the halting of a genocide by our forces, and the continuity of actions to destabilize Rwanda. Uruhare rwacu twese mu guhangana n'ingengabitekerezo ya genocide ni uruhe? What should we do today? We the fighters, we shall continue our defensive measures. Yes, we shall continue, because we need to protect our people against attacks from within and from without. Gukoresha imbuga nkoranyambaga ku nyungu z'ukuri. We must tell the truth using social media. You have a role to play. Read this history. We have students who have studied humanities. You can write our history. We have started writing ours as the army. But I believe you can give those testimonies, those reels, you can write them and make sure they spread to tell the story of what transpired before and after 1994. Don't let other people change your story, because there were lives involved. Kubungabunga ukuri mw'isi y'ikoranabuhanga muri iki gihe, muzi ko isi ihuzwa n'ikoranabuhanga. Imbuga nkoranyambaga zabaye urugamba rushya. Information operations. Yes. Where someone will come and distort facts. Recently, there was a son of the former president who came up with a new theory altogether. Now he wants to put up a fight in the DRC. Really? After all those lives were lost? He thinks he can have a political cause to fight for. Really? So, social media needs to be used for effective communication of our history, amateka yacu. Guhakana jenoside yakorewe abatutsi bikwirakwizwa vuba hakoresheje imbuga nkoranyambaga, ariko n'ukuri gushobora gukwirakwizwa mu buryo buhambaye. Siko bimeze? Ubuse mucecesheshwa n'iki? Ko ariko kazi ahubwo mukwiye kuba mukora mwese. Iyo ntumva ubuhamya watanze ntago mba nzi ibyakubayeho, ariko nimba isoma ahantu nkabyumva kuri video nk'uko aba basore banjye bagiye kubifata, nzajya mbisubiramo bitanga urugero rw'ibyabaye. Siko bimeze? Kandi ukomeze uhumure, ntacyo uzaba. Ubuvugizi bwo gusaba ubutabera kubakwiza ingengabitekerezo ya Jenoside. When the Jews were slaughtered in 1940 to 1950, 6 million Jews. By the way, the rapidity with which the Tutsi were slaughtered is much bigger, is unmatched. Because the Jewish genocide took place over 5-6 years. But the genocide against the Tutsi was 100 days. 1 million to 100 days. But when the international community has the guts to hold people who committed genocide in their homes and say, no, you know what, these ones did not do anything, and they are okay with that, it's sad. It's very sad. Fine, we are forgiving here, yes, but come here and say sorry. That's all we want. Don't go somewhere and start telling people that you are lying, you never died. These are real stories. Tugomba gushiraho uburyo bwo gukwiza ukuri. Umwanzuro. In conclusion, therefore, Jenoside yakorewe abatutsi mu Rwanda ni imwe mu bihe by'umwijima mu mateka ya muntu. Human history. The worst event in human history. Mu gihe cy'iminsi 100 abantu miliyoni 1 barishwe. Ariko na mbere yaho benshi batari recorded barishwe mu byitso. Nyuma y'isuzuma ibimenyetso bifatika umuryango w'abibumbye UN yemeje ko genocide yitwa uko ikwiye kwitwa, genocide against the Tutsi. And I'm glad that the Canadians have also chosen to call it exactly what it is, the genocide against the Tutsi. Not Rwanda genocide, because that is misinformation. I told you that within the 10 steps, yes, there are people who can fall victim because they fought against the agenda to eliminate a group of people. But the ultimate objective of the government was to eliminate a group of people in whole or in part by killing, separating a group of people, separating children from their families, raping. All those happened in 1994 to a group of people. Whatever happened in response, even when our own president took certain measures against perpetrators is considered to be a double genocide, honestly. Even while we are fighting to make sure that a group does not disappear, someone comes back and says, no, you know, it was double genocide because they came and killed also. Actually, hadn't our president had the heart to stop armed officers and men who had put the law in their arms, I can tell you there would have been a bloodbath. I can tell you. Because thousands of men and women walked to their homes and found the killers next door. But they were told, do not. The moment you try to put the law in your hands, we shall hold you accountable. And many of them were put in jail for that. Even when psychologists will tell you, I was in Fort Leavenworth in 2013, and I sat in a class with American students, and they were telling me, you know, when we go to Iraq, we get PTSD. You know, post-traumatic stress disorder. And when we come back home, we go on rampage and kill people. So they said those people belong to a hospital, they need treatment. Nobody will judge them for their actions. You get the point? Nobody will judge them. They will say they have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They don't belong to a court of law. They belong to a hospital. Are you getting my point? But with the RRPA, our president said, do not. And whoever tried was held in the courts of law, even when they probably had PTSD. Because finding the entire family gone, it is a unique scenario in which he took very serious political decisions in the name of unity and reconciliation. So, the lesson here is that we have to make tough decisions to reconcile a broken society. We had to take legal measures against those who put the law in their hands. But when someone stands and says, you know what? There was a double genocide, really? It's painful to hear. And in 1997, I'm going back a little bit just to give you a context. Even during the insurgency, they came back with the same agenda and they slaughtered people. And when we would arrest them, we would give them back to their homes. Say, take your children. We did not, it wasn't an eye for an eye. No. If you want to win an insurgency, you don't do that. You arrest someone, take him through the court process. If he's a fighter who has been led by ideology, then you have to correct them in society, and that's what we did. That's why we have Mutobo, so that we repoliticize against genocide ideology. And today, I can tell you that it has been very effective. This country is very strong because people do not want to go back to that history. So in conclusion, therefore, I am of the belief, if it is it, ko u Rwanda tugezemo uyu munsi, turimo uyu munsi, rukomeye bihagije kurwanya ingengabitekerezo ya Jenoside, rukomeye bihagije kurinda umupaka w'igihugu. We are strong enough to defend our territorial integrity. We are strong enough to fight against anything that would divide us because we have the will to defend ourselves. So no weapon that is raised against us will triumph if we are united and if we remain strong. I thank you very much.